you'd know better than me now, James, but old school rugby is like, you have to have the fun side of it as well. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what builds morale, like team socials, things like that.
I'm not that much older than you. He's fun age. Like, so you're 21, you're going on here.
What I meant is you have a much longer, illustrious career than me.
Joe presents House of Rugby, United Rugby Championship, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of House of Rugby. We have got a packed show for you this week, guys, so we'll get straight into it. As always, I am joined by the man himself, my good pal, Mr. Greg O'Shea.
Good to see you, lad. How was your weekend?
Good. Obviously watched Six Nations. I was Thursday, had my few points, went to the parade, enjoyed the festivities. I was in Galway at a stag on Friday, so actually met a lot of the Connacht lads out. And then Saturday then was just rugby.
Yeah. You celebrated Paddy's Day well, so?
You know, I was on the points by half one, but I was home by 10. It was good. It was good.
Like myself, you can probably hear from my voice. I was in Cheltenham celebrating Paddy's Day, and then I was at the match yesterday in the Viva, which was great. I actually did the coin toss, which was one of the funniest things I've ever been involved in my life. Johnny Sexton was like, "What are you doing here?" So flipped the coin anyway and enjoyed the game. But before we get tucked into all that stuff, we have a great guest today. Leinster and Irish hooker has joined us. James Tracy, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, lads.
Yeah.
Raspy voices on the two of you. I'm probably a bit fresher off the nice break. When you have a kid, you'll know all about you're taking a rest and you can get it. So a bit fresher than you two, but excited to be here.
You're just off the plane from Portugal.
Yeah, lovely week. A few of us over there, so nothing exciting, nothing like Cheltenham or anything like that. But we rained out all week, but it's probably suited me down to the ground. I'm not a sun worshipper. Yeah. Ross Byrne and his missus were over there, and Roy Loughlin over there as well, and my wife and little man over there with her family. They were place over there, so we're staying with them.
You brought the girls. It was fairly tame, I'd say.
Very tame, yeah. That was a good one, good fun.
Great stuff. We've got some questions coming off you in a while. The usual, if you've seen the show before, 10 questions with not too serious, although, I don't know, have we a few bad ones in there?
We'll see when we get there.
We'll start off anyway, first of all, with the small matter of the Six Nations. Ireland versus Scotland, 26-5. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough in the end for a championship. But a bonus point win against Scotland, triple crown. Not that bad, James, is it?
No, I think listening to the lads talking after it, they were... it was like bittersweet. They probably felt like they didn't click as well as they wanted to, but to be honest, watching the game, I thought they played pretty well. Like when you're going for it that hard, like you're going to make mistakes. Like it's never going to be perfect. I think it's really exciting the brand they're playing at the minute. And we've come a long way when we're not happy with a bonus point win against Scotland in the Six Nations. Like that's true. We're going all right. Like
I think bonus point wins in all our games. So we got bonus point win against Scotland, bonus point win against Italy, bonus point win against Wales, bonus point win against England in Twickenham, and we lost to France with a losing bonus point.
Yeah.
So we had the most tries scored, the least amount of points conceded.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, what are people going on about? Why
triple crown.
And a triple crown just because France managed to win all their games and just beat us in Paris.
Yeah.
Probably the best French team we've seen in the last 2 centuries.
Yeah. It's actually amazing. And to lose by only 6 points in Stade de France, it still came down to the wire. Like, actually, I didn't really think about it like that. It is really good
glass half full.
Yeah.
Glass half full.
Yeah,
God, think good. We're on a good. Think about it. We're well set up for a World Cup. Like, I mean, you look at who are the top 4 teams in the world at the moment: Ireland, South Africa, France, and New Zealand. We just beat New Zealand. We came very close to beating France in Paris. I don't know what the story is with South Africa when we get them because we haven't played them in so long. Can we match them physically? But we're still up there. We're like, what more could Ireland do? They have 3 or 4 players in every position. They've got an excellent coaching team in there. I know they're still making mistakes, but do you think France were flawless for the entire Six Nations?
No, exactly. The last game, like there was so many mistakes in the French performance because they're trying stuff, and like that's the brand of rugby Ireland are playing at the minute. They're actually like expansive, trying stuff, and it's never going to be perfect. But I think it's class to watch for one. I think they seem to have like a really good culture in there as well. In fairness to Andy Farrell, he's come in and seems to be like a really like player-led, empowered environment. And at the minute, like they didn't win, and like there's so many competitors in there that like they want to be winning Grand Slams and everything like that. But I think when they like sit back and look at it, it's going to be like that this group has come on such a long way, and very exciting for like the next couple of years leading into World Cup cycle.
Definitely. Looking at the game itself, Greg, I mean, any standout players for you?
I was going to say, I actually didn't think they performed too well yesterday. I was at the game, I was like, they're not playing that well. Towards the end again, they obviously picked up a couple of tries and when the bench came on, but I thought Gibson Park was exceptional. And you know me now, I'm a big fan of Murray. I think Murray's the man.
He's part of the Conor Murray appreciation side.
I lead the charge there. But yesterday, watching the game in person, I thought Gibson Park was exceptional.
Yeah.
You obviously know him because you train with him every week, but he's just so fast and smart. His little quick taps and stuff. He created, even like when he got the ball and threw it back inside to Josh Van der Fleer, who then scored, like that little quick movement.
The timing of it as well. Yeah. He's a nightmare, like for a forward anyway. He's a nightmare because he's just, if you switch off for a half second, he sees that and he's gone. Or in and around the ruck.
And has he always been like that?
He has. I feel like he's obviously in like unbelievable form right now. But he's always been like a freak in terms of like, he's very different maybe to like the New Zealand like style of playing. Scrum half is probably a bit different to up here, but I feel like he's always been that player. It's just he's now got a run of games and like he's like high in confidence and he tries stuff. And like, I like anything, when you're trying stuff the whole time, sometimes it won't work out, but when like you're in form and it's sticking, like it's you see like what happened the weekend, like you get those like highlight reel moments.
He just looks so comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
Even behind the rock, he's like looking around. And he always seems to pick the right pass, like, which is amazing.
Even when everyone switches off, his head is always up. He's always looking. Yeah. And it's great to see some quick penalties. We've missed that in rugby. Those days of the quick penalty while they're all offside and get that extra 10 metres. And he's always aware of the situation. He's always looking up what's around him. Or everyone else might be blowing or looking around and go, what's next? He's looking at the opposition and he's scanning the field. And that's something you don't see in a lot of nines. But another guy, obviously, who was hugely, and we were talking about it just before the match. I mean, Dan Sheehan, like he is. Where does he have to come out of? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's like obviously unbelievably talented, and he's flying, and through an unfortunate injury to Ronan, who's another incredible player. He's gotten his opportunity, and he took it with both hands, in fairness to him. But yeah, it's like, thank God these two lads didn't come along for 5 years ago, or I wouldn't have the career I had now. But like, in fairness, like they're both very, very talented. I'm not like, I wish I had bad words to say about them, but I don't. It's just like, you love to hate them or something.
They're good guys as well.
Good guys as well. So
it's the worst.
Yeah. But listen, like we're definitely competitive with each other, and
what's it like in training? You're out in UCD every day with these two young bucks coming up behind you. Like, does that keep you?
100%.
Energized?
And like, we definitely got off to a prickly start.
You should. Like, that's competitiveness.
Listen, it's the competitiveness of it all, and like, it's how it goes. But like, after a while, you get to know each other, and all that kind of like subsides a little bit. But there's definitely, exactly. You build respect for each other. But at the end of the day, like what you do on the field does the talking, and then how you are as a person off the field as well.
And say, are you giving them little tips in training, even like technique and throwing and stuff like that?
Well, if not necessarily, but like say,
so you have 10 years below your belt. Like,
I'm not. If anyone or either of them, like Ronan, we have good conversations and stuff like that. Maybe like a few years ago, but like, I think when you're positional, you're more watching from the outside and seeing, is there something that I could take from them? Yeah. And if not, maybe like these two lads are absolutely killing it. There's probably nothing that I've been doing that they would have learned, because they're both excelling.
Yeah. But I'd say it's even spurred you on again at this stage.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I think you're always trying to learn off different people, even if it's in different positions or whatever. But, they're not necessarily knocking or picking up the phone and asking, but definitely we'd have good conversations and drive each other on.
Yeah. And do you think, I'm going to ask you straight out, do you think Ronan will get his jersey back after Dan doing so well?
I feel like he's done enough over the last like 2 years that, in my opinion, but like, that's just like, I don't know.
You never know what happens.
I feel like he's had a lot of good games. He'd probably feel hard done by, but like, again,
Yeah.
Like I'm not picking the team, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Dan was exceptional in the man of the match, so
Exactly.
I don't think you can go wrong with either really. So
it's a good complaint to have, really, isn't it? Like
yeah.
class guys like that coming in, like, and there's other guys there waiting in the wings. But other standout performance again, we're probably sick of mentioning him. Hugh Keenan was class again yesterday, lads. That young fella is just that try. I mean, we can give out to Hogg. You probably should have watched Capuozza in the Wales-Italy match. He should have passed that ball back inside, but that's still an incredible tackle from Keenan to put him into touch.
Oh yeah, it was incredible, and that just sums him up. He's just hard and nuggety, and like I don't like. It's probably been harsh, like make him sound like he's just all effort, because he's not. He's a very intelligent player, but he's tough as nails, and like that tackle in the corner just sums him up. Like just he's the man you want in the trenches. He's so reliable, and he gets it now. I feel like his rugby intelligence has gone through the roof in the last year, and like from no, you know, he was always good, but like the trajectory he's taken has just been phenomenal.
He was even like that. So I played sevens with him for a few years, and he was always 14-minute man. He'd make the most tackles in the game. He covered the most meters. Just unbelievable effort all the time.
Yeah.
And so it just makes sense like that he just got into the Irish jersey and hasn't come out
so
of it
quickly
again.
as well, though. Like he hasn't stopped. I think he might have had one bad 20 minutes, I think, in the last year. That's it.
Yeah, against France, and he was still good. Like.
And he was still, it was bad for him.
Remember, he's like,
probably bad by his standards.
He wasn't 9 out of 10, he was like 8 out of 10. Like, Joe.
But like, I mean, if we were having a line store this summer, like that guy, he has to be in the conversation. He would be in the conversation to be starting full back. That's how good he's been. But
he'd have to be,
well, we've got a clip actually of Johnny Sexton from after the game, obviously talking about and reflecting on how far Ireland have come over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's a very tight bunch. You know, we've come from some low times. You know, you got to remember, like it was only a couple of years ago, we were being written off. You know, the coaches being written off, the captain was being written off, the team was being written off, wrong man. You know, everything. So, you know, it's pretty fickle sport, isn't it? You know, so we will keep our feet grounded because we know how fickle it is. And but like I said, I'm just proud of this, to be a part of this group, and yeah, it's a very special atmosphere in there.
Bit of an old dig there to be different Johnny, unlike him.
I would say
no, it's not a dig, but like I suppose he's right when he's saying, because we did write him off 2 years ago to a certain extent, didn't we?
Yeah, I think he's been written off a few times in his career, and he's always come out firing from it. He definitely used it as motivation. But yeah, it's like that's the game. It's like you're on top of the world, and then like a couple of bad results, and your own mother's writing you off. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's how it goes. Like you know, with everything though, you know, when the momentum's with you gotta enjoy it, but just understand that you're only a couple of losses away from everything turning on you.
Seems like a very good mindset. It seems like he's very protective of the Irish team in the way he's speaking there. He's like, they seem to be really happy. But even yesterday, watching the game, he kicked an early 50-22 into the corner, and he was cheering as if they won the game. Like, and then I also noticed there was a set piece move they had going towards the 22 in the second half, and James Lowe ran the line and got in the way and knocked on the ball. And he was screaming at James Lowe, like running back, screaming at him, pointing at him. And I was like, geez, this guy's 36. He's been playing for how many years at the top of the game, and he still cares that much.
That's what makes him Johnny Sexton, though. Like, you don't get to be a Johnny Sexton. You don't get to the level he's got to and win what he's won unless you're that driven and that competitive every day, no matter who you're playing, no matter what.
That's training as well. Like you get that. Like he would have given the same. Given out for doing that in training, regardless, you know, it was the same reaction. You know, it wouldn't matter. It means just as much practicing as it does in the moment.
I just found it funny. He chased him back and gave out to me.
Yeah. Oh, geez, I've been on the receiving end of views. You know when you've gotten something wrong, but like that's what drives the whole. That's like he's driving the standards there, and like that's like what makes the team so good from the inside is that level of expectation that he drives. And he's
say now, for instance, at the end he missed a kick pretty badly for him to miss. Would anyone say it to him, be like, Johnny, not good enough, man?
No, well,
anyone have the balls?
Sure, there's a few senior players in there. Like I'm sure back in the day,
I'm sure they're having a crack with it after, but like I doubt anyone's coming for him too hard. Jeez, he does enough right that he probably cancelled that out a million times over.
Imagine.
Looking at Scotland, lads. Obviously, you know, we can reflect on Ireland and complain that they might have made a few mistakes and maybe they weren't at their best, but Scotland were pretty poor, and I think maybe a lot of that might come down to the fact that I don't know if you heard the WhatsApp or the stuff that went around during the week, and but Hogg and Ali Price and Finn Russell and all them staying out for a few beers and not coming home, and it was in the press. Hogg was actually asked about that after the game, like, and he's a bit petulant.
What's out there is out there. I think for us, we'll just remain everything that we want to remain in house. I think for us, if we're concentrating on that, then we've just put on a fairly good performance that we're proud of. Large majority of that game, and we've talked a lot about building towards the summer tour and autumn internationals. So that's all we're focused on. Don't know how many times I'm going to say that I apologise and put my hand up. I knew I made a mistake. As leader of the side, I'm bitterly disappointed by what happened, but I can't sit here and say that I'm not disappointed. For me, I was annoyed, I was frustrated. But yeah, I can't go back and change anything. So the longer we dwell on it, then I know exactly what you're after here, and you're not going to get it.
Last question. No more. Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
I'm not missed that.
Oh,
I'm not going to miss that. Look, I'm not trying to give out about Hogg. I love Hogg as a player. He's class. He's a brilliant captain, a lion. But this is the first time we've really spoken about it, and he's been in front of the media after the match. I think he apologised, but there was no need to be. It's like he was. Why are you asking me this question? It's your job. You have to ask that question, and they just got beaten with a bonus point to Ireland. You have to answer those questions and not be so aggressive. I suppose is he? Do you not think so? I don't know. As you're still in the game now.
It's hard to know unless you're in that situation, probably how you're going to react. It's obviously a touchy subject, so he's clearly not comfortable answering it. I don't know. There's probably how do you answer that? I think
he answered it right, but when you're caught out, and they were caught out and they made a mistake, you just answer it and go, yeah, look, I apologise. And so don't be kind of as petulant as you was, as in who are you to ask me these questions? We're pretty right. They're pretty right to ask that question.
You're coming from different sides. You're coming from media side. You're coming from
that's what it's nice to get inside the head, and of both sides and try and figure out, okay, this is how I'd approach this, is how I feel about it. And as you, as a player, if you were caught out in this situation, would you feel like you owe anything to the media, or you'd be like, no, I apologise, piss off?
Do you think it's a fair question?
Oh, it's definitely a fair question.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to think is that straight after the game?
Yeah.
But, he's just got beaten in international.
Yeah.
You're already going in a bit of a fouler, and then you're getting asked about something that you're not that happy about, drinking or whatever.
Yeah. He's probably quite internally punished already in the team.
Yeah.
He's the captain as well, though, at the same time. If that happened with Johnny Sexton wouldn't behave that way. You're not going to, because he has the onus upon him as the captain, and it's different if you're a player. I think, maybe I'm wrong. I'm saying if you're an international captain, you do have to, shine yourself in a better light, maybe.
Yeah, obviously shouldn't have gone. What do you make of beers during the campaign of Six Nations?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. I think it's good for morale and celebrating the victories or the losses together, and I think there's definitely a place for it. And I do get what you're saying. The media is part of the whole engine of what it is, and especially as a captain, you do owe response. But yeah, at the same time, it's you got to be yourself. So at least he's been himself there. You can see it is obviously
there's no right answer really.
Piss him off.
Yeah.
So it's tough when you get in a sticky situation. It's what do you do? He doesn't want to throw anyone under the bus. He's obviously getting it from both ends. He's just kind of wanted to go away.
Yeah. Nice to see a bit of spice and personality.
That's it.
Yeah.
If he was all grand about it, then I think that'll be boring as well.
Yeah.
At least you can see he's obviously a bit disappointed or pissed off about it.
What was the full story? Someone stayed out, you said?
I think, there was a few of them, a few of the senior players that went out, and then I think it was Russell or something, that's why he got dropped, ended up staying out, and they got warned to come home even though they were told not to go out in the first place.
Yeah.
Because they had team beer, so they obviously overdid it and kept going, and I'm only speculating now, I don't know the full story, but this is what happened, and it was in the Scottish papers and stuff, and I just think the whole thing kind of didn't go down well in Scotland, and it's just that was his first opportunity really to come out and apologise properly, maybe, I suppose. I don't know.
Sure.
Look, let's move on.
Nothing wrong with a few beers.
Let's move on.
The Australians were over here years ago, and Scott Fardy was telling us about it, and the Honey Badger and a few others were caught in coppers.
Yes.
And they went out and smoked Ireland. They were like, was that on the Wednesday or the Thursday they were out, and then they went out and beat Ireland by 10 points or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, like go both.
I remember that. It was actually that story was on. It was actually on House of Rugby UK. I remember watching the clip where it came out. But I was chatting to Will Guinea. I remember a few months back, and he was telling me when he came over for the November Internationals years ago, he was making his debut for Australia. But he was already class, like, and he knew he was in the starting team. And like the night before the game, like he comes down the stairs and George Smith is there, suited and booted, ready to go. And he's like,
before the game.
I think it was either the night before or 2 nights before the game, something like that. I'm not 100%.
2 nights, sure.
But he's basically like, yeah, go put on your suit. There's drinks, and he's like, when George Smith says you drink, you drink. And that was the end of it. Without the shirt, I think he ended up getting man of the match that game. He was like, yeah, whatever. Absolutely smoked England, like, but
But that is the thing. The old school, you know better than me now, James, but the old school rugby is like, you have to have the fun side of it as well. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what builds morale, like team socials, things like that.
I'm not that much older than you. She's fun age. Like, it's why you're 21. Where you're going on here?
What I meant is you have a much longer, illustrious career than me. Yeah.
Oh, I changed your words now.
Yeah.
Getting back to the game itself, lads. Looking at the bench impact again. Obviously, Conor Murray, good off the bench again. Thought Killer was good. Played well off the bench. Henshaw was class off the bench again.
Yeah.
Like it's so mad that Henshaw is on the bench at the moment, but at the same time, it would be unfair to drop Gary the way he's playing. But to have someone of Robbie Henshaw's quality and standard, Irish Player of the Year, we're saying it every week, like your starting line, like it's crazy.
And that's what seemed like Henshaw came on, was so aggressive. Murray was even aggressive, which is weird to see that side of him.
Got the bonus point try as well, Murray did.
Got the bonus point try, like they were incredible. So it's just good to see that Ireland have that bench coming now, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the hunger as well, because like lads fighting back for places. So when you're fired up, there's always like that extra few percent coming out in you. But like we said earlier, like the depth in that squad at the minute is great, and like they're still missing a few through injury. Yeah. So like that's an even brighter side to it all. Looking
ahead to New Zealand, guys, is there anyone there we think that still hasn't got a chance and should get a chance? Like I know we had Conor Oliver on the show last week, and he's someone we've been hoping gets in and gets a chance. Like, I think New Zealand, this is a summer tour, then you've got an Autumn Nations and a Six Nations, and that's the World Cup. Yeah. So it's probably a real good opportunity now to bring guys over for a 3 or 4 week tour to New Zealand. Anyone like you, anyone in Leinster that would pop up you think deserves a shot?
Well, we asked you straight up, do you want to play for Ireland again, or what do you think?
Yeah, I would love to. I think it's a very competitive position. Obviously, I'm in at the minute, but I've every aspiration to put on a green jersey again. And it's something that keeps me motivated and keeps the juice flowing, like 100%.
1 or 2 injuries, man.
That's it. You're always only an injury or two away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'll definitely be keeping the head down and do my best. But in Leinster, like I feel it's probably like Ross Maloney has been a standout for us for probably like 3 seasons now.
When I say he's 200 caps,
I don't think he's 200, but he's definitely
well over 100.
Oh yeah, well over 100. Yeah. But like
he hasn't got a cap for Ireland yet.
No, not yet. But he's tipping in around camp. Like he's like for a second row, his bread and butter. Like he's phenomenal at, and I just feel like he's someone now. I bet you if he got a break, he'd absolutely take off.
I think he deserves it, man. He's just been plugging out at Leinster every week.
Yeah, and like consistently one of the best performers. Like he talks stats, so he's always like top of the stats. Then there's like the young guys like Joe McCarthy, another second row. He's like only 4 caps. And
can I just ask you about him? Like, as in, like, what is he? 6 foot? Is he like nearly as tall as Hunter? Is he 6'10" or something?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Well, he's still like he's only 6'6", 6'7".
Yeah, like he's only like he got called into the squad to train there last week alongside Ross. Like, and I'm hearing that this guy, like, people are saying that he could potentially be like our answer to like a South African. Like,
really?
What do they call like an enforcer?
Enforcer. Yeah. He's like, but he's probably like the thickest, when I say not in his personality, his actual like skirt of his like arms and legs and stuff, Irish person that I've ever met.
Really?
He just like made a different stuff. And he actually has a younger brother as well, who's a tight head. I was watching like the Senior Cup, seems to be like good player as well. So he's got a good genes there. But yeah, anyway, Joe's come in, got an opportunity, and he's just taken it with both hands. Like he's been absolutely like brilliant for us in 4 games, but he's been like one of the best players in 4 games.
Could he be a James Ryan kind of guy, like, and just kind of go get him in there?
Yeah, could be. But again, like who he need a bit of luck probably to get him in there, and like who do you take out, like more kind of thing. And I think that's probably been the unlucky thing for Ross, is that it's like he's been so good for so long, but it's like who do you take out to put him in?
That's the issue.
Do you think this New Zealand tour is going to be looking ahead to the World Cup and bringing the top fellas, or is it to try out young guys? Say like Gavin Coombs is someone that comes to mind who might go down, or like a Fineen Wycherley who's playing really well as well. Do you think they'll try and bleed those guys in, or stay with the top lads and get them ready for the World Cup?
You'd think they have a mixture. Keep like the.
Is this New Zealand as well? Like, it's not
Everyone's going to want a tour. That's the problem.
But you don't want to go out down there and get absolutely like hosed either. So I'd say a mixture of like get blood in a few young guys, like as you said, like Gavin Coombs.
They might bring a massive squad down, like 40, 50 lads. Maybe.
Maybe. Like
probably don't have the money.
Yeah, I was about to say like, you wouldn't know.
The IRV don't have the money.
But like like I'm sure it'll be a good mix of young and old, blood a few young lads, and then keep the other lads battle hardened and like playing like top end games. It'd be interesting. I can't see them going all young.
No, not when it's New Zealand. Like if it was a different tour,
you're going to get down there with all like new cappers and stuff like that. But it'll be a class tour. Like whoever's on it's going to be an unbelievable tour, and like what an experience.
It's cool to see everyone itching to go. We had Ross Byrne on a few weeks ago, and he's itching to get back in the Irish team as well. Like, so.
Oh man, like there's another one. Sorry, like both Rosses have been like phenomenal performers for Leinster for the last like 3 seasons.
Exactly,
and like all you can do is just keep playing well, and then like hopefully you get your shot.
That's it. I guess that second layer of Irish rugby is just so good at the moment. Like all of like
even the third layer, you can go down. Like you can literally go down 3 layers now and go. If there's a lot of injuries, that guy can slot in, no problem.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
That's amazing. Like, and I think it's something that we go back to depth, but like we actually do have incredible depth, pretty much across. I'd say every single position. Bar maybe like the only one position where there's a big gap is Johnny. But Joey is stepping up now. You still have Ross is getting better. Harry is still there.
But speaking of that, you see Joey coming on at 15 at the weekend.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
Interesting.
Yeah.
What'd you make it
Johnny didn't want to come off.
That was probably it, was it?
Well, like Joey's, he played a bit of 15 before he left to go to Munster, and I think he was like very, very good there. So I think he can play like multiple positions. So I'm not really sure what the dynamic was, but like he can definitely do more than one position. Like
I know he has played 15. When I played 20s and we played a bit of 15 as well. But I was just like, not put him for 10 minutes at 10. Because like that's what we're looking at him for. But I presume Johnny just didn't want to come off.
That was it. But look, we better move on to, there was 2 other games. One other game that unfortunately we didn't think it was going to happen, but England couldn't do a job against France, and I don't think they ever really were going to do a job. Jamie Eastham called them rudderless again. I don't think England have been great. I think they maybe are. Should they pull the plug? Are they in trouble like with Eddie Jones? Are they getting their selections wrong? What do you think? What do you make of England throughout the Six Nations?
I think they've been very poor, to be honest. I don't know what's going on at the minute with them, but like I think like teams in general go through cycles, and I think at the moment they're probably I don't know if they're on the downward or have they leveled out, but from where they were, they're definitely in a rebuilding phase. Maybe they're thinking long term for the World Cup, and they're just like trying to blood new lads in. But I think even like the brand of rugby they're playing is just like when you look at like France or Ireland or even Scotland, like they're so much better to watch.
They're kicking everything yesterday, and they weren't good kicks. They were kicks to nothing. And like even from Marcus Smith, he was putting in 3 or 4 crossfield kicks, like, and they weren't even close. They were either bouncing out into touch or they were just straight into a French hand every time.
And like I'm like, you're almost happy when you're watching that. You don't want a team that's playing that brand like to do well.
No.
Like, I know South Africa kind of won the World Cup doing that, but like you'd prefer to see
England aren't as big as South Africa. They can't really use that style of play.
No, and like the pack isn't as motor in the same way it was like when they were at their peak. But it's kind of like it's hard to put the finger on like what's going on, but it's whatever it is, it's not working anyway. Like, and they
looking at the game itself. So I mean, France didn't seem to look like they really got out of first gear in the first half. They weren't brilliant, but tries from Fiku, tries from Kroos. Didn't look like England were going to do much. Second half then, Freddie Stuart, actually, they scored a great try to Freddie Stuart, really well worked try. But then as it looked like they're going to get back into it, who else pops up other than DuPont, like with a bit of magic, like, and that was it. Signed, seeing, delivered. Grand slam in the bag, first in 12 years.
Yeah, it was first half was poor out of France. They had a lot of handling errors. They were creating the things like they always do, but then they were dropping it. I was like, this is really weird for France. And you said they just turned it on. Then their top fellas stepped up. Aldrich was unbelievable again. He's just man. Like you're saying, DuPont there for his try, but it was all Aldrich that did that. Like,
true. And then but it's just like it's everything though, isn't it? It's like the Aldridge, as I said, picked, like it was saw the guy at the edge of the ruck had overfolded, gone. But again, straight, like they just seem to know where each other. It's an instinct thing from like throwing offloads from being a kid upwards, because like as soon as they turn, there's always that person on the shoulder, and that person is always in full tilt. So it's like they just
how do they keep scoring tries? Like they've scored the majority of their tries up the middle of the pitch. Like I mean, that has to be so hard to do.
The ruck is really good, and fairness, that's one thing that we didn't say in about Ireland is Ireland's ruck in the last 2 years has become one of the best in the world. That's on both sides of the ball. Like the pressure they're putting on in defence and their attack ruck, they're creating so many opportunities, but because they're just cleaning people off their feet, and then you're attacking against less people, and it's as simple as that. They're just really effective in that. I think France are very effective,
hitting soft shoulders, and then there's always
exactly
under there,
and then clearing two ginormous lads, cleaning it deep, and then you have DuPont and all these giants running through those gaps and like throwing offloads, and then like.
What's really impressive, I think, with France is that they don't mind throwing the ball back and it lands on the ground. They just
just get it up.
Someone picks up and they go again.
Put something with it, which is mad. Like.
It's nice. Well, like when you look at like the kind of what they have in their back line, you've got someone like Penot, like who can take space outside, who can step inside. Then you've got someone like Villiers coming off the wing, and DuPont. They're not just backs. They're like DuPont is as strong as a bloody six, like for the size of him, and so is Villiers. So they barely even need much of a soft shoulder. If it's just a little bit of a gap there, they can actually burst their way through. And then if they don't get the whole way, there's a support runner there as well. And it's really like. How do you defend against that? What do you do? Like it's
I just can't. I can't with DuPont and Entomac playing. I can't see weakness in their team.
Yeah,
can you spot one?
They still have Jalabert as well to come in instead of Entomac if anything happens to him. So
like how do you beat France looking at the head to the World Cup? Like
it's hard. Like you need to kick very well against them, and then it's like the amount of breakdown threats they have as well. Like you get around them and you make a few yards up the edge, and then like Fiku or Aldridge or someone, is if you just switch off for a second, turn over, then they're kicking it down the field, and like you're defending, and they just get like build that momentum, and then once the momentum goes, you need a day where they're dropping balls like that's like against England, like that's a day where you're kind of beating where it's not really clicking for them, you're putting a bit of pressure on them, and then you just need to take all your chances.
Take all your penalties.
And like every time you're in their 22, you need to be coming away with points. That seems to be the way, but
are they the best team in the world at the moment, lads, or is it still the Springboks?
I'll tell you their most informed team. Like is that a too soft of an answer?
Come on, do your thing, get them off the fence.
I know, get off the fence. Yeah, I think when South Africa won the World Cup, I think they're better than what France are now. But South Africa, we haven't seen them in a while, so it's the next 9 to 12 months is going to be it's going to tell a lot. And we're not even talking about New Zealand, like.
New Zealand, you can never rule New Zealand out. Like it'd be interesting to see what they're like against Ireland this summer. It's going to be very interesting because we haven't seen much of them at their best in a while.
They're building down there, I'd say.
They're always building. They're New Zealand.
Do you know what I mean? They're looking at World Cup. We pissed them off in Aviva there a couple of months ago, so I can't wait. The next year of international is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be amazing.
Big games. There's some big November games already been lined up as well. Like so, like everything building up to this. What is it? What's left of the World Cup now? Is there like not even 18 months? Building up now to the World Cup, like so, it's going to be an interesting into the cycle, without a doubt. Like, but moving on to the best game of the weekend, the most exhilarating, thrilling game of the weekend. Italy beat Wales, 22-21.
Well
first game, come on lads, come on Italy. 36 game losing streak. They haven't won the Six Nations since 2015. Their first win it's their first win in 7 years, and they haven't won. It's their first win in 7 years in total.
First
Six
point,
Nations.
I think.
First point in the Six Nations. Like they haven't done anything. Like it's incredible. Like you can see that's why it meant what it meant to them. I mean, I'm sorry. Like Wales were absolutely useless. If they played like that against an elite level nation, if that was Ireland, they would have put 70 or 80 points past them. That's how poor they were. Not taken away from Italy. Italy were good. That kid Capuosa. I mean, that break at the end. He's
Capuoso. Yeah, I probably pronounced that wrong. Capuoso.
Capuoso.
Capuoso. We all know what we're talking about. Anyway.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Everyone seems to pronounce it differently depending on what channel you're listening to. But
he is incredible, man.
Yeah.
Like not even that try at the end that he set up. Even mid-game when he was messing around in the try line, he popped it off to Ioane. Even playing against Scotland, he scored 2 tries off the bench. He is incredible. Like him.
There's rumours he signed for Toulouse as well on a 3-year deal. He's with Grenoble at the moment in D2, so he's already been snapped up. He's only 22, and he looks 12. He's actually 22.
The way he runs is just so smooth. Like it's just incredible to see. But him, Gabrici, as you said, Ioane's there.
Ioane's class.
They have a great little team there now. And I was in Aviva Stadium watching it on the TV before Ireland played. The cheer out of the stadium when Italy won was the biggest cheer of the day. Like it was insane. Everyone's just so happy because Italy have been written off in everything for the last couple of weeks, for the last couple of years.
Yeah, dogs.
Italy shouldn't be in the Six Nations. They're not good enough. So it's just really good for rugby, I think.
It is. What do you make of that narrative, James? Are you one of those people like I'm sick and tired of people giving all about Italy, like, and I'm more like give them a chance. I think so is Greg. Are you like that as well? You sick of people saying get them out of the Six Nations?
Well, yeah, well, people are always going to have something to say. But like, it's what's the alternative as well? It's like I don't know.
South Africa or Georgia, the 2 teams that have been moved with the last few years.
Like. But like realistically, like what I don't know. I don't think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think like they're a great part of the Six Nations. I think like even from the like the stadium over there and like the trip to Rome and everything, like it's special. Like that's my only Six Nations guys playing over there, and like it's unbelievable.
Just want to say, like that must be like a class trip. Like I mean, to be able to go over to Rome and play a rugby match for your country, that must be pretty cool.
Yeah, it is unbelievable, and like they're 100% building as well. Like it's actually chatting to Dan earlier, and he was talking about like wasn't surprised that they won in terms of like their performance against Ireland, performance against France. Like something has been coming there for a while. I think they've been close to go a few times. So
they were sticking in every game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like delighted for them. Like I couldn't fathom what it's like to play and lose that many games in a row.
36.
Especially like I mean, losing 36 games in a row as a club, like at least you get a chance the following week. Like they'd lose a block of 5 games and then have to wait another 6 months or a year to get another block of 5 games or 6 games, then lose them again, then wait another 6 months or a year. So like, imagine all that time in between.
Yeah, and hopefully they learn something from it, because like you've definitely lost games in the last 5 minutes where you're losing. It almost becomes a habit where you don't have the confidence to close the game out or whatever. And first they stuck to their game plan, hoofball, hope for the best kind of. What they did they kept them in the game though, and they were very like tactical and clever about that. And then wait for the opportunity to come and have a few X factor players. And
well, that's the thing. They used to just live off Parise for 10 years.
Yeah,
and now they have really good talent littered throughout the team. So it's great. It's great to see. And it's so good that they've won the last game of the Six Nations now. So it gives them a good few months just to relish off that, be happy with their effort, and it shuts everyone up. Even shuts us up. We were saying Italy aren't up for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it kind of.
Kieran Crowley lads has to be a coach that people are going to look out for, because he went in over to Benetton, won the Rainbow Cup with them, brought him into Italy. Now he's after that's probably it's the best Six Nations they've had in 7 years, because they've got to win. Yeah. So he's obviously doing something right. Like he's obviously able to reflect on these players and get them play good rugby.
Talent, obviously.
That's it. But the biggest part of that match actually happened after the game. It was the incident with Josh Adams and Capuzzo.
Yeah.
Capuzzo. But on 68 minutes, Josh Adams scored a try. And in fairness, Josh Adams, he probably was one of Wales' better players. Scored what looked to be the winning try. And we all thought I thought it was done. And then obviously Capuzzo pops up with that amazing run and then that try to win it. But after with 5 minutes left, who was on commentary? Was it Jonathan Davies? Jonathan Davies was on commentary for BBC. He gave Josh Adams man of the match. But then he decided after the game to give his medal to Capuzzo. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's class.
Yeah, it's such a class, I think. Probably like a serious memento. I'm not sure I saw a little clip of it. You couldn't really tell if he accepts it or not. But yeah, like I think you're only everyone is human. Like when you see how much it means to them, that man of the match medal doesn't mean anything to him, but like it's going to mean a lot more to someone who's scored a try for that big a moment for your countries. Touch class.
It's cool to see how much it means to them. And even when Gabrici scored the conversion, which he did with such balls as well, just stepped up, banged it straight through, and just fell to the ground crying. It's like, just feel for these guys, how hard it must be.
Clever passing the ball inside as well. Like making the line break, but also having the vision to not just go for himself, to actually give it inside for the easier conversion.
Exactly.
Like, this would have been like
22
squeaky bum time, taking a kick from the corner to win for the first time and whatever.
That's a 22-year-old kid like who like somehow like you make that like Hail Mary run in the first place.
Yeah.
So like to, as you said, to have the wherewithal to stop and go, oh wait, we need the kick back inside. Because if you watch it, he could have scored that no problem.
Yeah,
no
that's what I was
problem.
thinking as well. I was like, he's going to take it to the house, you know, have his own highlight reel moment.
Yeah.
Very
Swan
unselfish.
dive into the corner. Right, go easy, off you go.
Yeah.
Let's go in there.
They
There's a lot of
missed
lads-
the kick and then game over.
Greg would have been in the corner, swan dive.
Hey, look at Stuart Hogg against Ireland, as we said earlier. I mean, Stuart Hogg was in that situation. He ended up getting burst into touch, but
Yeah.
the pass was on inside for him.
I was going to say there's a lot of lads that would have taken that try now for the highlight reel. So. Class. Fair play to Italy.
We'll take a quick look back on the tournament itself. So, like, obviously, you know, we touched a good bit on Ireland, but who do you think, lads, was the best overall player for Ireland throughout the Six Nations?
Big question.
That is a big question.
For one of us to go first.
I think consistency, like Hugo Keenan would be up there. I thought, who else was exceptional? Jamison Gibson Park was very, very good. I think Tyke Furlong was very good.
What you make of the whole Tyke Furlong thing last week with Genge? The scrum.
Cheating. They were cheating.
Do you think Genge was cheating?
It's frustrating, yeah. Like, you know, like it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you're playing against the scrum and like, you know, they're manipulating the visuals to the ref and getting rewarded for it. But
How easy is it to get away with stuff like that in the front row? It must be, because I think they went back and reviewed it. They said 3 out of the 6 penalties should have gone Ireland's way.
Yeah, she came out and said that. Yeah,
yeah. So like when
dark
you're
arts in there.
it is dark arts, and like some days it goes for you, some days it goes against you. But like in the moment, you're just trying to problem solve into, like, it's, as you said, street rules. Like, it's doing whatever you can to paint good pictures, but at the same time get away with enough cheating that it's if it's cheating against you, like, you got to do something to counteract it. And like,
why would anyone want to be a front row, lads?
Why do
you do it like?
That's why he gets paid the big bucks, like, be able to solve the problems.
He wasn't able to solve.
No, I know, but you know, he'll learn from that, and like the next time, he guaranteed. Like, we've had our darkest days as a front row, you learn the most from. And that's like, you know, you mightn't think that it wasn't solving the day, but there'd be plenty more days like that ahead if you didn't know how. Then, okay, you sit down, you go through it all, and you're like, okay, if this happens again, this is what we'll do, or we'll set up like this, or all the different things you can kind of do to help yourself. But you have to kind of go through that, unfortunately, to hopefully now that'll like solve a problem down the line, whether it be a World Cup game or another Six Nations game. We'll have a solution for it that we didn't have before.
It's a good time to learn. Yeah.
It's very frustrating when you're in a game and the ref's just pinging you off the park, and you're like,
what am I doing?
You know, sometimes you could tell them before the match, but like, they might try to do this. We've seen them do it before, and they're like, yeah, no, we know that. And then they do it, and you're like, they're doing it, and they're like, no, pinging you, back 10, back 10. You're just like, oh.
Why would you be a front row?
It's going to be box office, lads, the next time we've got Furlong and Genge on a pitch together. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how Furlong.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to take it too well.
I'd say that was his first ever poach on the weekend, where he was nearly laughing himself mid-game, like almost like found himself over the ball, kind of thing. But
he was class. I also thought Gary Ringrose was very good the whole campaign.
Yeah, I think Gary's been a consistent performer for a long time.
He just goes about his business, just does it every game.
Yeah.
When you keep someone like Robbie Henshaw, like, I mean, like, I'd say, like, you saw how good Robbie was when he came off the bench, but he just couldn't drop Gary. Gary just kept performing and kept doing his job. And you're like, I'm sorry, like, you can't, as good as Henshaw is, you can't drop someone who's playing as well as Gary was playing. So he made it very difficult for Andy Farrell to drop him, which is a sign of a good player.
I think Johnny as well, like, we probably take it for granted a bit, like, even the difference in that, like, Italy game when he came on, just like started, you know, we felt like we struggled to play against like the 13 men in the end, but like we were forcing passes and stuff, and it just seemed like the difference when he came on, it was just all of a sudden just taking to the line, picking people off, and then we were just running in scores, and he just makes the team flow, I think, so well. Any team that he's in, he makes it flow so well. And
someone else I thought was amazing who got injured halfway through was Porter.
Yeah.
I thought he's massive.
He's on a different, he's completely like brought his game to a whole other level in the last 6-7 months.
Yeah, definitely.
What's he like in training?
Ports? Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, but like the whole like fairness. These probably 2 sets of front rows that are like class. So
your scrummaging sessions must be
that's
absolutely insane.
it. Like, so they are. The scrummaging sessions are great. So it's good for everyone because like drives everyone on, and like you have to be top notch or you're getting eaten alive. And like we all have days like that English day, except in the scrummaging session, you're kind of looking at yourself and like, how am I going to solve this? But helps you figure it all out.
Amazing.
But yeah, and then I'd say like both the hookers as well were had like a great campaign. So
what about best overall player, lads? I think like for me, I think Villiers. I think like I'm writing the team of the weeks for Rugby Joe. He's the only player I think that's been in the squad, been in the team of the week every week. I think he's been incredible. Anyone for you?
Well, besides DuPont.
Yeah. Oh, we had to stop talking about DuPont though. It's like talking about O'Driscoll and saying he's the best centre ever. We have to just take DuPont out of the conversation. So outside of DuPont.
Yeah.
I don't think you can take him out of the conversation.
You can, because we're sick of talking about him. Okay, like, outside of DuPont, who do you think was the best player?
Well, like, why do you have to go away from it? It's the same with like Johnny. It's like when he's that good, he's good. Like,
it's true.
Got to give him props every now and again.
It's just we need to give someone else a chance in the live. Give someone else a chance to speak about them.
Like he can kick off both feet unbelievably well. So like. I probably didn't appreciate how good he was off both feet. They had a maul, he's going to box kick off.
DuPont.
DuPont, yeah. Toje is up the side, so he takes that ball out of Toje, can just detach and block it down straight away. So he just turns the other way. It's about like 2 meters from the touchline onto the left peg, sends it down to the halfway line, up like 45 meters up. I don't think. I was just like,
I didn't even realize he could go
But this was I was like looking at it, just been like. So I was looking at Toje and like, very clever. He's going to get a block down here. And like, not a bother on him. Turns it away. Left peg, down to the halfway line.
Nonchalant.
No bother.
Clear, exit. Easy.
Animal. Like, he's just on a different universe.
Yeah, just in a different universe. Yeah, but I just can't, like that really, I always thought he was good. But like that again, just the calmness and the execution. To be able to do that is just incredible.
He must just have years of just practicing that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is incredible. And it's just, even for his try, get away from Jamie George, speed away from Ben Youngs, just in under the post, like fast as well. But
he powers off his leg. He kind of pumps and powers off it. Like.
Yeah. Besides him, I think Toje, his domination of a game from second row is just
even when England are poor, he's still brilliant.
Yeah.
Which is like I said, like from second row.
Yeah. Him and I also think Hugo Keenan. I think it's just every game he's good. Like. It's 8 out of 10 every game. Sometimes he goes 10 out of 10. But like, I just think he's incredible. Doesn't drop a ball. So they'd be my 2.
Do you reckon it'd probably be DuPont player in the championship, or is there anyone else there that we can give as a chance of taking it off him?
I'd give it to him.
Yeah, you probably have to, don't you?
Yeah.
Besides him now, who else though?
I just can't look past him. I don't want to look past him either. So I think he deserves it. Like I think you
have to appreciate players like that while you have him in the game. He's world class.
I think he's also like at the top of his game, and he's still got like a long way to go as well.
Yeah.
He's still only what? Is he 25 or 26?
Aldridge, I'd say, is up there as well. I'd probably go Aldridge if I want to go apart from DuPont, because like he had so many big moments where he got steals and line breaks and offload. I think he had that in nearly every game. He had like maybe 3 moments where he like changed the game or swung the momentum of the game.
Yeah.
I think he's probably one of the best back rows in the world at the minute, in form. Another there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So look, we'll move on from the Six Nations. Obviously, we still have to touch on the URC action, but we're going to get stuck into you first with our 10 questions. Nothing too bad. I'm going to kick things off. Apart from the RDS or the Aviva, what club stadium do you reckon has the best atmosphere? Like, so based on ones you played in?
In Ireland,
anywhere. Ireland,
where is it? I can't remember. We played Clermont. Incredible atmosphere here. Yeah. Like unbelievable.
Sea of yellow.
Yeah, proper lunatics. That's probably would be the best one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you joined the Leinster Academy many moons ago, you were
dig there.
You were a loose head prop.
Yeah.
Was it always a dream to be a loose head prop, or did you find it difficult transitioning into being a hooker?
The dream was to play on the wing for Man United. So loose head prop was a pretty far fall from that.
Slight difference.
Yeah, but I went to Newridge College and like was lucky enough to start like getting stuck in, and slowly got moved into I started off at like 7
Yeah.
and then slowly got moved forward.
Put on the pounds every
Put
year.
on the pounds, yeah. Well, they weren't moving me with weight. It was more like slowness and ability. It was like, right, we'll put you in here. You might be all right there. So, yeah, I got moved in. They were like, it was a teacher of mine, Derek Sherlock, asked me, he's like, oh, would you, like, you know, what would you do to get into junior cup team second? And he's like, would you be willing to play in the front row? So I was like, yeah, obviously. So that was the first carrot to get me in. So that was the first move in. And then, yeah, played loose head all the way up. And then it was Joe Schmidt then, when I was in third year academy, he said to me, he's like, you know, have you any aspirations to play for Ireland? I said, I do, obviously. And he said, well, I don't think you'll make it as a loose head. I think you should think about moving to hooker. So
wow, that's a bit of a slap of reality.
Yeah, it was. But at the same time, it was kind of like, you know, like, here's a clear path for you. If you want to take this is what I think you can do. You know, it was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily a negative spin. It was more, you need to change your path. If you want to be able to get to here. So he's like, I think you can do it and as a hooker. So I think change. So I said,
cool.
I did it. Started throwing the ball that day, and then that was it. Third
year academy, you only started throwing darts.
Yeah.
That's very late to learn that skill, man.
Yeah.
It's tough skill to pick up,
So just put in the time. But it's funny,
Did you pick it up quick?
No. It probably took me like 4 years of playing hooker before I'd look at the ball going out and be like, no.
You were playing Leinster senior games?
No. It wasn't necessarily. I probably played a couple now towards the end of it, but like I was playing with UCD and Leinster A, and like hating every time the ball would go out, just like, oh god, it's like tossing in absolute grenades. But then just persist with it. It's like anything, like practice, and.
Geez, fair play to you, man, getting to Irish level as a hooker, picking up darts that late into your career.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a very tough skill, man.
It's still hard, still practicing. Just getting easier.
That actually lines up our third question. Like, so just as you were talking about Joe Smith, so the third question I have here is, you made both your Leinster and your Ireland debut under Joe Smith. Like, we all know how good he was, but what was he like to work under as a coach?
Unbelievable coach. Like, his level of detail was crazy. You talk about like your mother or your teacher having eyes in the back of your head. Like, his ability to see stuff in real time is just incredible. Like, he'd watching a drill and like he'd be able to tell if he didn't step off his foot at the right time. Your man over here didn't start his run on time, and your man over there, you know, was making a defensive error, and he's able to take that picture all at once. It's just scary.
That's nuts.
And like, it was a very intense environment, but like, it bred like a lot of the Irish success that we're kind of still reaping the rewards of. So definitely very intense, but like, incredible coach, like in his ability to pick teams apart as well, like with levels of detail, and like come up with game plans and moves to, if someone tended to be slow at folding, or, you know, would tend to bite on certain movements or something like that, he'd see that and come up with a play to like incredible levels of detail. Yeah, different level of detail.
When he was a world-class coach you played under, but you also played with countless world-class people in Leinster and in Ireland. Yeah. And I was wondering, who would you say was the most influential? Like, you played with Easton Estewa, Sexton, obviously. Did you play with Elsom?
No.
Rocky Elsom?
No, I would have been academy when he was in Leinster, but I wasn't really training. I wasn't training with the senior squad.
Yeah. So who would you say, looking back in your career, who was the most influential?
Influential on my career?
Yeah.
I'd say Kev McLaughlin.
Wow.
Believe it or not, yeah.
Jeez, I could have guessed 100 players.
Yeah. So like, obviously you have all the stats, and they're like unbelievable, like rugby players. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely learned loads off them. But like, how he went about off the pitch stuff, and like, just like everything he lived by, is like his work ethic, and like all the extras and all that sort of stuff that he would have done. And he also would have been like fair, like, he would have given me a little bit of advice on different things, and like, he was always good to young guys as well. I think he would have definitely had a big part to play. Ian Madigan was actually very good with a lot of the young guys as well, offering advice on different things.
You consider Mads an old fella, would you?
Mads, well, he was more experienced than I was anyway. He's only a couple of years older than me, but he would have been very good to our crew of like kind of academy and stuff like that. And then like, influential in terms of like Leinster and like driving to a different level. Like Isa and Johnny, not just to repeat the two you said, but they would be the two of like.
Play with Drico?
I don't think so. No, I don't think it is. I would have trained, but never a game. No, at that point, I was like the cannon fodder. Like when I come in a thing, I'd be me, Ty Byrne, and Dan Levy. They'd put like a tackle suit on us, and we'd be sent out to fire the lads up for the week ahead. So, like every Tuesday, it was like World War III for us, and it was just cleaning us out, like proper. Killing us, but like it was good in terms of
you all turn out to be international.
Yeah.
You have to go through it.
But Jesus Christ, it was like every Tuesday it was like World Cup final going out. We were annoying lads going that too much or too hard or in training, but that was kind of like our job for that time.
They probably respected you so much after all that.
After a while, probably, but at the start we were literally just the annoying little young lads that were far too eager.
But, nipping at their heels. Go ahead, James Tracy.
Brilliant.
Class.
Standout moment. You must have. Do you have one standout moment in your career and go, yeah, that's the moment now? Like if you were to hang up your boots in the morning and you look back, can you name one?
Champions Cup, winning the Champions Cup. I think that. Well, like, I can't name one. First cap for Ireland as well. It's like that moment, like standing there, like when the anthems, like that'll be hard to stop. Like family there and stuff. Quite an emotional moment.
Six Nations in Rome. Was that one?
No, it wasn't actually. It was we were playing against Canada in
Dublin.
An autumn game in Dublin.
Oh yeah, I remember that game in Dublin. Yeah.
But yeah, that was big. And but then with Leinster, definitely, winning the Champions Cup, like that was a huge moment. It's funny, like I'd have a few moments that I treasure, like as well, where like big moments in games, like winning a turnover or like something like that. Like love that. Live for those kind of moments as well, in big games.
Especially once you can reflect back on and go, that actually was a game changing moment. Like
Do you
feel that in the game? You're like, 100%. I think that was a game changing moment.
Yeah. Like when you're in the trenches, like defending, like one of them would have been against like Toulouse, getting like they're come back into the game and getting a turnover, been part of a turnover. Like it's like such a good feeling, and like it's like a big moment in the game.
Yeah, it's like a drug, I'd say. Is it just like rush of just like
some lads will run in the try, so I don't get that feeling ever. So like I'm living for those kind of moments.
Penalties, turnovers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, going a little bit off the rugby pass for a moment. If anyone follows you on Instagram, they'd see that you got into the sea a lot during February for Freesbury, I think it's called. Can you tell us what that's even about? And was it not horrifically cold?
Well, it's pretty cold in February.
Yeah, miserable. I think I'm all seed out for a while. So we did it for charity. I'll explain that in a second. But the challenge came about. Damien Brown, I would have played him in Leinster.
He did the thing where he rolled across. He rolled across.
Rolled across the Atlantic. But he was in talking to us, and I remember he came up with the challenge. Basically, he's sick pup, loves a bit of punishment. But he came up with the challenge, and I was kind of thinking, I'd hate to do that kind of thing. And then I was like, right, I have to do it now, prove it to myself.
Because you said that.
Yeah, I was like,
is this just in your own head?
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah.
I have to do it now.
Yeah, so myself and Josh Murphy actually did it as well in Leinster, but he just did it for himself. That's proper sick pup. But I ended up doing it for charity. Yeah, so it's close to my heart. So my sister has been sick for a while, and she got a kidney transplant from my uncle, and it was a way of raising money for charity close to her heart. So raised a few quid. So it was good. And,
that's cool.
Got a load of different lads came down and supported me and got in for different days. So
and did you go an extra minute every day, or was it the same?
Yeah, so started off with 1 minute on the first, and then add a minute every day up to the 28th. So the last kind of like 8 days are miserable.
Tough, I'd say.
Miserable, yeah.
Tough.
Just probably from the 18th onwards, it's almost the mental side of it's worse, and knowing that tomorrow, and like you can almost feel like after 20 minutes in the water, you feel your body starting to shut down. It's just like it should not be in there for this long.
And you're just sitting there in shorts, like.
Yeah. You're not allowed. Part of the challenge, you're not allowed to wear gloves or like the booty. You're not allowed to wear anything apart from like shorts. And then at some point you just submerge your head. So I'd usually wait till the end At the beginning, I'd dive in head first, but after a while, I learned that would make it a lot worse. So when you're in the longer thing, just get up to the neck, and then at the end, just dunk the head. But it was good mental and physical challenge. I
find it hard to
do it again.
I'd say thinking about your sister would have kept you in there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, I knew I was doing for
good
cause. Exactly, that was close to home. So I was never not completing it. It's funny, like my mother was like, you don't have, like, you know, I was like, Mom, I can't not do it.
Like that.
It was like, she's like, because there was a storm coming in the middle of it. And she's like you don't be killing yourself now with this. I was like, well, like, I'm not missing the day. I was like, I'm doing it.
Fair. Just shows your mindset, man.
Yeah.
Crazy mindset.
Yeah, it just shows you like it's all mental. Like the mind can take you places that you don't realize you can go until you go there.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised though. Like here's me thinking I was mentally on down at like 6 o'clock one morning when that storm was coming in the middle of February, and like to say there was a group of 15 like owls and owl lads that are down there every day at 6 o'clock and like shining like lamps into the 40-foot at that time, and then off to go for their coffee every day.
Jesus.
So I was like feeling sorry, you know, thinking I was a lunatic, and I was like, okay, well, this is
you're nothing.
I'm not even scratching the surface of these people. They love it. Like, in fairness, the mental, physical benefits of the sea is great. Just don't do it for 28 minutes.
Unless I give out a book into the sea in the summertime, like it's too cold for me, so I won't be doing that. No. But next question, that's a good question actually. It's who inspired you to start playing rugby? So that could be like, who inspired you maybe in your personal life, or was there a particular rugby player that you were like, I want to be like him?
So I would have played under fives in Nace and
under fives,
all the way back, and that would have started with a good like pal of mine. As dad would have been a good rugby player, Paul Henry. He's a big Turner man now, but he would have been probably the first influence that would have gotten me into it, and then didn't really play rugby then until I got back into. Just before I dipped the toe in again just before Newbridge, and then into Newbridge. But he would probably have been the first kind of influence with it. It wasn't like, as I said, I was a big Man United man. That was the dream. So I had to let go of that at some point.
You weren't going to be the next David Beckham, unfortunately.
Yeah. Long way forward.
Actually, I really like this next question, asking people that have been playing at the top of their game for so long. If you could give yourself one piece of advice to young James Tracy, what would you say to him starting out in your career?
Oh, it's a good question.
It is a good question. I'd say that that's like to sacrifice, you know, like, so you can't burn the candle at both ends. That's probably something I realized not too late, but luckily enough, I didn't realize it too late. I was, you know, you can't live the college lifestyle and be a professional, you know, to the best of your ability and give yourself every opportunity. That's probably what I would tell myself. Luckily enough, I figured that out before it was too late. Well, I feel like there's so many talented people that I've played with over the years who didn't, and not necessarily, it's not for some people, and that's fine. But if you want to be at the top end, like, you gotta do the off-field stuff and sacrifice a few nights out here and there and pick and choose them rather than just going after every one of them.
But you were saying there, burning candle at both ends. Just before we came on air, you were saying you're working basically a full-time job, you have a 9-month-old kid, and you're training full-time at Leinster. That sounds like burning candle at both ends to me.
I mean, you've gotten to the stage now, you're allowed to do that now, I suppose.
It's all under control though. I wouldn't say it's full-time, half-time job.
Yeah.
But
fair play, man.
You got to be organised with your day and stuff like that. So I'm
getting it done.
It all in. Yeah, exactly.
And one more bonus question, if you don't mind me asking, Jason, is you see all these Leinster lads, some are going across the Connacht, some lads are going to Exeter. Do you have any want to go abroad, or are you thinking Leinster till I die?
I've not necessarily in my rugby career go abroad, but I'd love to live away at some point. So I'll see where the world takes me.
Where would you go?
I have another season in Leinster anyway, but if I had to go somewhere, I don't know. Like, my missus wants to go somewhere sunny, but I don't know if that'll suit me. So, so it looks like we're going somewhere sunny. I don't know. To be honest, anywhere. I just love to live somewhere different at some point in my life. That's always been a goal of mine. So,
but even in a rugby sense, could you see yourself putting on another jersey, or is it always going to be Leinster for you?
I don't know.
Because you'd easily pick up a contract somewhere else if you wanted to. Like,
it's a tough one. Like, I don't know. I don't like at this moment in time. I'd say no.
By year.
Yeah, I'd say no right now.
You've another year in Leinster anyway.
Yeah,
so.
no, I've no season in Leinster. Yeah, so but at this moment in time, I would say no. But I will move away at some point in my life.
Move away from that lovely gaff in Balls Bridge.
Oh, you listen. Doing your research. I'll follow you home.
Moving on. Look, we'll move on to the URC action. We won't spend too much time on this, right? Munster. Nice, good start to the game, good first half. I think it was 21-7 at half time, cool as a breeze. Looked like they were pushing for a bonus point. I remember flicking it off for a few minutes and then flicking it back on. And I remember my dad coming home because he rang me when I was on the way back. He was on the way back from Galway. He was like, "How Munster getting on?" I was like, "Yeah, they're winning, whatever." And then I forgot to tell him the result. And we were there just putting on the Ireland match. It's like, did Munster get the bonus point? It's like, Dad, Munster lost. So like they basically capitulated at the end of that game, ended up losing 23-21. That's 2 losses now in South Africa. A lot of young guys playing, but I don't know, not ideal for Munster at the moment, is it, James?
No, but in fairness, the South African teams are different beasts over there. We did like a very humbling experience away to the Cheetahs. Just how many years ago? Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But yeah, they're different beasts over there. So like it'll be a good lesson for those lads. And yeah, they just find another gear.
They've clean sweep this weekend. The South African teams,
yeah, they do.
They're targeting these games clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what they should do is target the home game. So it's going to be an interesting trip, even if we're over there and in a little while. So it'll be interesting to see how we go. But the table's going to change definitely a lot with all of their home games coming now. And
time.
Yeah, but it is. It's hard. It's tough over there. I don't know what it is, but they have another gear when they're playing at home.
Yeah.
So it's a tough game. In fairness, Munster started well. Like
they did start
really
right
tries to start the game off, and like their pack and their scrum is so dominant. They get like momentum and penalties through that, and in fairness, like they've good poachers and stuff, so just keeps them in games, and then they just find the gear, and they have these like unbelievably quick lads. Like their winger, like that's right. I can't remember what's the
11 for Lions. Yeah, he's very good. He bumped over Calvin Nash. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Calvin won't be too happy with that. But I don't think all hope was lost. Like Munster missing all their internationals, obviously.
Yeah.
They're away in South Africa, high altitude, high temperatures. Like the Irish lads don't do well with that heat and temperature.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's
So like,
I think it's the manner they lost more so. It's the fact that they'd gotten off such a good start. You should have the wherewithal and be able to. A team like Munster should be able to hold on to that. If they went over and just downright lost that game, it wouldn't be as bad. But when you put yourself in that position, do the hard work, and then just sloppily let them back in the second half, you're going to be disappointed in yourself.
It's not ideal, 2 losses in a row. But then again, at the start of March, Munster beat Dragon by 60 points in Thomond Park. Like so,
I'm sure if we put that team together, like between 3 of us and a few other people, we beat Dragon 60-0.
No
offense.
Come on,
I don't know what that the Dragons haven't been. The Dragons now aren't exactly the best example to use in terms of a 60-point victory.
I just don't think all the hope is lost for Munster.
No, I don't think so. There's still plenty left in the season, but as you said, it's going to be interesting with all these South African teams coming in, getting these results, how that table looks come the knockouts. It's going to be interesting. But
sorry, James, being on the inside, what do you think the mindset is around going to South Africa now? Do you like mentally prep like this is going to be tough 2 weeks, or is it like holiday mode? Like you see some of the lads out there putting up stories and stuff.
Not after these results, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the trap we fell into when we went over the first time. Like it's not as if we were going over like taking the mick, but like
no, not you. I'm talking.
No. I'm saying, but we did take the mick in the end because like we got absolutely spanked and we came out of there with our tails between our legs. So it was just like we were thinking that we were taking it seriously. Yeah, and like wasn't no one was talking about it like that. But at the end of the day, it's like they're like very very good physical sides, and like if you don't respect them and you don't get your not even respect, if you don't get your execution of your game plan right, they're so hard to beat over there. And they just hang in games. They have these like X factor players that just create big moments.
You're playing against World Cup winners, like
exactly. And like they in fairness, they've recruited so well. Like these teams are like they're only going to get better as well. So like if anything, it's unbelievable for the URC in terms of like the viewership and like the competitiveness of the league. So it's going to make everyone better. But yeah, it's going to be a tough tour. Like we've two back-to-back games over there. So
it's the quality of opposition. I mean, I think it was, as we said last week in the show, it was fair enough. It was the Kings and the Cheetahs. This time it's the Bulls, it's the Stormers, it's the Sharks, it's the Lions. It's the 4 heavyweight franchises you're playing against. As you said, the actual World Cup team, like you're playing against some of the best players in the world. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
No.
And moving on to the next game, like and show you once again, like I mean, the Bulls, who wouldn't be the strongest of the 4, 57-12 against Scarlets.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an absolute. I know Scarlets haven't been great this year, but 5 tries before half time. They carried over 700 metres in total in the game. Absolutely ridiculous. And they actually won the Try of the Week award this week. Try by Johan Grobler. You'll see this absolutely incredible team try. Starts off with a lovely crossfield kick. And they just keep the ball alive here, and there's always support runners there. They're strong on the carry. They move the ball. It's a beautiful try.
Yeah, they just seem to be very comfortable playing in South Africa. Obviously, they're used to the temperature and the conditions. And I think
the altitude and whatnot.
Yeah, and they just seem to just throw the ball around willy-nilly, but it just hits hands.
I mean, I think nearly everyone touches the ball there in that try. I think. I mean, it must be 12 men touch the ball, and
it's amazing.
It's a bit of everything. Like that's just UA, like, isn't it?
Incredible try.
Do you know, with a bit of power and a bit of aggression.
A
bit. I was probably in a
giants.
A bit of a power, like these 6'8", 20-stone behemoths coming at you.
Yeah.
But moving on then to the next one, then another one. Sharks again, 38-6 against Zebra. I know it's sunny Zebra again, and no offense to Zebra, but they're not just winning these games; they're winning these games comfortably. Stormers and Cardiff then playing today, 43. They kept them tryless, 6 tries.
6 tries to 0.
Yeah, they're going out and they're smashing everyone else in the league, and they're really starting to build up a bit of storm now and a bit of heat coming into the closing rounds. And when are you heading over there?
I think we are heading over there in, is it 4 weeks maybe?
Yeah, so you'll have a good few of your players back as well, hopefully.
Europe, and then I think we play Munster. I think maybe then we go away.
Jeez, that's a run. So if you've got back-to-back Connacht, Munster, and then a trip to South Africa.
I think so, yeah.
That's going to be a block and a half for you.
Yeah, 13 games on the bounce now, so this is going to be...
you probably use about 50 players, I'd say.
Yeah, it'll be...
You're 13 games on the bounce now?
Yeah, we're going into it now. That's why the down week there, yeah.
And you're still running away in Portugal training.
Yeah. Well, you got to we're playing a game at the end of the next week, so we're Connacht away, and most of them are away as well. So it's going to be a tough slog.
Well able.
One more game that we haven't touched on is Glasgow beat Edinburgh 30-17. Our Jukebox Award comes from this game. Great little hit here. Kuna Vulu absolutely smashing McDowell. Nice, lovely, clean, tidy, legal hit, but
he caught him off balance off the kick.
Yeah. He just look, come here. He's committed to that. So there's nothing wrong with it. Boom. Perfectly legal.
Yeah, good kick though as well. In fairness,
that's a good kick. Oh, before we finish up, guys, move on to the news. Megan was in a Thai rugby club recently. Thanks to our supporters, Bank of Ireland. Let's see how she got on down in Kildare.
I've come to a Thai rugby club to meet Jane Moran, one of the players on the women's senior team, a coach, a mother of 7, and a woman who never stops competing. I've been told she's a force of nature here at the club, and I'm here to find out how she does it all. Jane, it's great to be here with you today. Thank you for welcoming me into the club.
It's good to have you here.
Tell us about the community around a Thai rugby club.
Oh, where do I start? There's so many good points that need to be brought up here. It's just a whole sense of family. Everyone you meet here has that welcoming feel. You know that they're kind, you know that they're here for the kids. It's a great place to be. I started playing when I was 41. Literally when my son started school, I found I had a bit more time in my hands. My daughter started the year before I started, and that's originally what brought me into the club.
How many children do you have?
I am the mother of 7 children, and 6 of my 7 children play for the club.
Amazing, you're a superwoman. Would you describe yourself as a competitive person?
Yes, I would. Very much so, yeah.
How?
I wanted to be a better player, and that competitiveness brought that out.
Have a little bite.
Oh, yeah. When I go out there, I want to play a good game. I started coaching because I saw the need for extra helping hands. First experience was with a summer camp here. I now coach with the under-16 Thai girls, and I'm involved with the North Midland under-16 development programme.
So you're hugely passionate about the development and the progression of girls and women's rugby.
Absolutely. I believe that girls, they need their skill sets enhanced. They need all the little basics of rugby fine-tuned, that they can go out and play good rugby on a pitch and be happy with the game that they play. So that's our job as coaches, to fine-tune those basic skills and give them what they need to make decisions on a pitch.
What's your proudest moment as a coach so far?
Proudest moment would have to be the privilege of being present when one of my girls achieves that moment where it's like a light switch going on. It's just phenomenal. Maybe finishing a tackle or playing a certain phase that they're practicing and training, that they actually apply it during a match. And all those skill sets are hugely beneficial.
Does that give you a buzz?
Oh, absolutely.
Great stuff from Megan there. I mean, what an absolute warrior. Like, starting rugby at 41, mother of 7.
7 daughters. Sexton played for the club.
That's a real club story. Like, that is from the ground up kind of stuff. Like, that's pretty cool.
As well.
Yeah, yeah, I love to see it. Love to see it. But before we wrap up, guys, small bit of news to touch on. Big one, Spain beat Portugal in the Iberian Cup to qualify for the World Cup. They're actually going to be in our group now. It's the first time they qualified since 1999. So I remember seeing it. They were on the front page of Mundial, they're the biggest newspaper in Spain. The first time in like 20 years. It was a non-soccer related story on the front page. So you love to see those smaller nations, as we call them.
Yeah, that's really cool. Spain are actually really good at sevens as well. They're on the
Remember
World
you were saying that
Series,
before,
like,
yeah?
So it's just good athletes, I suppose, and just a bit of funding.
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. Other big news, Leicester Tigers fined 309,000 for salary cap. Regulations are going over the salary cap up in England, something similar to Saracens, but obviously not on as big a scale. Image-right situation again. Super Rugby is back on Sky Sports. I don't know what you watch Super Rugby. Like, I love watching a bit of Super Rugby the weekends, like early mornings. You're too busy.
Yeah. I'm all rugby out.
All rugby out. Like, I just love like on a Saturday morning, and you're kind of like getting up and you're about to go to town, about to do your bits, and you're like, oh, there's a match on like 7:30. You can just flick it on in the background, and it's like when the rugby champion's on, like. But it's nice. Sometimes you flick on a match and you're not watching. Even if you watch half an hour, you're like, that was class.
Yeah, it is.
It's always interesting. Like, no matter what match is on Super Rugby, it's always entertaining because they play such a different brand of rugby to what we play over here.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the URC is boring.
I was very offended there, yeah.
And finally, guys, Women's Six Nations starting next week. So it's going to be broadcast on Virgin Media One. It's going to be on RTE. It's got a big, massive anchor sponsor in this year with TikTok. Ireland are hosting Wales at Energy Park next Saturday. So it's going to be good to see the ladies. Hopefully, there's a lot of talk around the ladies' game recently, so like first Six Nations after the review and everything that's happened. So it'll be interesting, won't it?
There's been a lot of build up into this now. So I'd say the girls aren't feeling pressure, but everyone's going to have eyes on them now, which is great. It's what they want. And the whole country now will be behind them after the buzz of the boys doing so well. So you'll at least tune into that one, will you, James?
Yeah, exactly. It'd be good to see how they go.
Yeah, good man.
Brilliant, great stuff. Well, look, guys, that's all we have time for this week, unfortunately. James, did you enjoy yourself?
Wasn't the worst.
Jesus, I mean, the way he said, well, wasn't
the two hungover heads me when I came in. You know, I thought you gave me a lot more energy than I expected. He's doing is he's roaring at punters all weekend. Like.
I blame Rachel Blackmore for my voice being gone. I apologise for that. But no, it was a great week, and thanks very much for coming on, James. Appreciate it. And thanks, of course, to Bank of Ireland, our partners for the show, proud supporters of the 4 Irish provinces. Until next time, guys, thanks very much.
Joe presents House of Rugby, United Rugby Championship, together with Bank of Ireland, proud supporter of the 4 Irish provinces.